Hello everyone, so today is May 3rd, 2015. This is just a quick update about my transition, legally, that is, and just kind of talking a little bit about what that process looked like for me. I don't really have a ton of tips for, like, general things because it's so different depending on where you live, what your situation is. There's a ton of factors that can impact it, so the best thing I can say is just do your research. But I do want to talk a little bit about what that process looked like for me. Hopefully it'll be helpful to somebody out there. Maybe it won't, I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking to the camera. But, so for me, the process started about a year ago when I changed my middle name. That was the only thing that I changed at the time. Didn't try and change my gender marker. Didn't try and change my first name, just my middle name for personal reasons. That was over a year ago. Got that done. And so when I did that, it was fill out the paperwork, pay about $300 between courts fees and newspaper, because you have to print it in the newspaper about 3 weeks or something. And then show up at your court date, get your paperwork done. And that's how my experience with the first time was. So I thought it'd be pretty simple. So about at the beginning of this year, I seriously looked into legally transitioning because at this point I'd already started my medical transition. I knew that I identified as male, and I was getting really sick of having my birth name on everything. And even though I go by Jordan and it is my middle name, and in daily life that's who I am, and in most things that's how I identify myself, legally there's still times you have to put your first name down, and it was just starting to grate on me. And between that and the gender marker and everything, I was just like, let's just get this done. Because I'm also starting law school in the fall, so I just thought it'd be easier to just get it done, over with, period, end of story. So, call up the clerk's office, and I didn't know what this process would look like because I had been hearing things about birth certificate, social security, driver's license, that you had to have surgery, that you didn't have to have surgery, that these things are all separate, that they're all linked, blah blah blah. So I didn't know what was up. So I called the clerk's office, up in where my permanent address is. My parents. It's not really my permanent address, but like I moved down here for school, so I don't consider this my permanent address. But so that's about an hour and a half drive up there and an hour and a half drive back. So I called up there and said, hey, what's the process for getting my name and gender marker changed? What do I need to do? And the lady just got super rude, super awkward, transferred me to the misdemeanor and traffic courts because she didn't want to deal with me. It was pretty obvious. And the long story short with that is I got no information from anyone, so I had to figure it all out on my own, which was awesome. But it was a good learning experience, and it was successful, so, that's all that really matters in the end. So, I didn't really get any help, so I started looking into it, and I figured out that Social Security and driver's license are kind of connected, but not really. They require their own things. Like, you can't, like, if you update one, it doesn't automatically update the other. Like, you have to update them both. And for me, because my birth certificate is from Colorado, I would have to get that updated out there, and they do require surgery. So that's something that I haven't had yet. It's something I'm not really worried about because not at this point in time. I will get it changed probably later in the year, maybe next year, whatever. But it's something right now, Social Security and driver's license are the things that are more relevant to me. So, so I figured out that gender marker and name change are kind of separate, but they should probably be done at the same time because it's a little easier to just take paperwork in once. So what I did was I went up to the courthouse up in the permanent address county and filed my name change paperwork. And I did it exactly how I did my other one for my middle name. Thought there wouldn't be a problem. Paid another $300, or it was actually over. It was more like $400 to get that done. And then I went and got letters from my doctor to say, Jordan has blah, 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 undergone treatment, blah, 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 blah. All that verbiage is online. It's pretty easy to find for Social Security and the BMV. In 2013, I want to say, maybe it was 2014, the Social Security Administration removed the surgical requirement to get your gender marker changed. So even though I haven't had surgery, I can get that changed with the letter from my doctor. And so that's what I did. And the BMV in Indiana, is shockingly progressive and decided to do the same thing. So I needed a form filled out by her, or a letter, or whatever. And so I got those from her, and got all that together. And this last Tuesday, went to the courthouse, was expecting to pick up my name change paperwork and be done with it. And that's where the problem started. Because I was not born in the U.S., even though I'm a U.S. citizen and have been since I was 1, I forgot my naturalization paperwork because it wasn't required on my first one. So that caused a problem, and it just ended up being this huge thing, and I had to drive an hour and a half back here, an hour and a half back up to the courthouse. But after kind of putting some pressure on them to get it done, I got it done the same day, so I got my name change paperwork. So that was great. And then began the great and long battle of getting my driver's license. So the first thing I did was went to the BMV with my letter and my name change paper because that's what I thought I needed. So I get there, and then I find out that my doctor, I didn't really read my doctor's letter, read it, and realized she did it wrong. So she put basically that I had transitioned to be a female, and I was like, do you even know who you're treating? Like, that freaked me out. I've not had good experiences with that doctor, but that's a completely different story. So she didn't even put the right gender on there, and it was just like completely jank, and the letter just was shit. And so I was like, this is stupid. So I called my doctor. 2 hours back and forth, didn't get anything. They didn't help me like at all. So I had to go back the next day and figure it out with them later in person. But we got that taken care of, and so then the next day I went to the BMV again with my letter and gender marker, or with my letter for my gender marker and my name change paperwork. And they were like, oh, well, you actually have to go to Social Security first. So I went to them, got that changed because my letter was by this point corrected. So all I had to do was take in my letter that said, you know, Jordan has permanently or has undergone the treatment necessary to permanently change his gender from female to male, and then my official certified document of name change. So I took those in, and the lady at the Social Security office was so awesome. Like, she was the best part of that entire process. She was just so excited for me and like said congratulations and was like, oh, this is a really exciting day, and it was great. And so that was super painless. Got that done. So then we went to the BMV. Then later the next day, because you had to wait 24 hours because those systems are linked enough that like Social Security needs to be updated first, and then you can go to the BMV. So then I had to take the separate form to the BMV because it wasn't the same letter. No, the Social Security letter was not the same as my BMV letter. So we went there, and in some back and forth there, but we eventually got that done too. So all that to say, on my driver's license and Social Security, I am now legally recognized as male and as Allender Jordan, which is awesome. Super excited. It's great to finally have that, and I'm really excited for my ID to come in. However, I did get the worst mugshot ever in like the history of driver's licenses. Everyone thinks your driver's license is bad. Mine looks like I should have numbers. Like, I look so angry, and I look like crazy. Like, my eyes make me look like I'm crazy. But it's whatever. So I did end up registering for the Selective Service, which is really weird. But when I went in, Indiana does it so that if you're in there getting your driver's license, you have to sign the paperwork for them to release your information. And I was like, okay. And the lady was like, I don't know. They just make us do it with all males. And I was like, okay, I don't really know what to do. So I signed it, and I'm really not sure what happened with that or what's going to happen with that. But I had to sign it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got my driver's license, I'm pretty sure. So whatever. So that's on its way. I'm really excited. I'm really excited for surgery because that's coming up here in 2.5 weeks, which is crazy. I'm gonna have to pay for it by this Thursday. I'm a little short on money, but I have savings that are separate from my surgery savings, so thankfully, so I can cover it. And then I'll just kind of pay myself back, I guess, over the summer here. So yeah, a lot of big changes coming up here. But I hope you enjoyed that quick update regarding legal changes. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask. I can't guarantee that any of it's going to be like, any of my answers will be helpful because, like I said, everything's so state specific and like specific to your individual situation. But yeah, so if you've got anything, feel free to shoot me a line or whatever on Facebook or Instagram or whatever you want to use. I really don't care. But yeah, so peace out. Hope you guys are having a good one. Take care and make wise choices.